Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we are going to do a fast 5 knife review. Just a quick look at 5 knives. We're going to talk about them really quick and what I think about them. Now, this is an automatic ProTech in MagnaCut. Aluminum scales, and it has this really cool, like, kind of a fish scale pattern. Now, ProTech springs are very strong. These things have a lot of pop. You can actually see the recoil in my arm when I fire it. Very, very hard pressing spring, which I like. I like that a lot. You know, if you're going to have an automatic, I say make them really strong, you know. Now, that does have an effect when you close it, though, where it's pushing tension the entire way. If you let go, it's going to pop back open. So you got to make sure you're, putting enough force to close it and then push it all the way in so it closes. Now, you do have this little lock that can prevent it from engaging in your pocket or anything like that. And then you can also lock it open so you can't disengage it when it's open. I don't think it's necessary. I've never had that an issue, but, I guess some people might. Now, we have a non-deep carry clip, the clip works great. I did put it in and out of the pocket. This is not mine. This is in for sharpening from a friend from the community. Now, I did put an edge on it, and this is more MagnaCut, so I've gotten to sharpen more MagnaCut. Now, I will say, I do think ProTech's MagnaCut is a little bit softer than some. But, it's not like there's a ton of MagnaCut out there to... I've done a lot of MagnaCut at this point, so I do have a good idea of how MagnaCut feels and everything else. And I would guess if you HRC test this, it's softer on, from what I think would be optimal for MagnaCut. What do I think is optimal? 63. I think 63 is optimal. 63 and up. Sorry, 63 and up. So I would guess it's 62. That's what I'm guessing it's at. I'm guessing it's 62. Give or take. But, it's still very sharp. Don't get me wrong. And I didn't test it or anything like that. But just from sharpening it and the type of edge it took, it's incredibly sharp. I don't want to make it seem like it's not, because it is. It is very, very sharp. But it doesn't have that high level of bite that I got from some of the other MagnaCut that I've sharpened that were 63 and above. So it responded very similar to some of the other stuff that I sharpened that was under 63. But awesome knife. I still like it a lot. I love that it uses this big hardware. It's it's a hex bit hardware, nice, strong, durable hardware. The lockup is rock solid. I love that, ProTech knows how to do a button lock. I don't think there's anything wrong with the steel or the heat treat. I just think, by bringing it up, the edge retention would probably get a little bit better, and the edge would probably be a little bit stickier. Does that mean it's not ridiculously sharp? No. Does that mean it's not good? No. It's great. It's still just fine. I like the big stop pin. Great, great knife. Let's get to the next one. Now, the next one, I actually purchased this for the giveaway. So we're going to quickly go through this. I haven't tested it or anything, but I've had a little bit of time to mess around with it, and I purchased it for the giveaway to give to one of you guys. It is a Wharncliffe blade, an S30V. It has peel ply carbon fiber, compression lock, very, very smooth on the drop, great detent on the opening, perfect centering. It's a great example of the SPYDERCO CANIS. I haven't had any of them. This is the first one, but I can tell, This little groove right here is made for when you are, one, it's going to take off a little weight. But two, when you're cutting, it's going to help materials go over the spine of the knife, because it's not the thinnest, You have all of this that's not really thick, but it's thicker. Up here, it's a little thick. So this relieves some materials to make it thinner in this portion. So it's going to be able to go through materials a lot nicer. Now, the tip of it, while being a Wharncliffe, it's still a pretty durable tip. So you're not going to have to worry about it chipping or anything like that. It does have a a hollow grind, but it doesn't have far to drop to the hollow. So this section is going to help it pass through materials, while it being a short hollow is going to make it to where it can be a little bit slicier behind the edge, and after you sharpen it, it's not going to get thicker right away, without sharpening it a lot. And it's going to have a durable tip. Very lightweight. That is another thing. It's very light. It's very slim, or at least it feels very slim. In the hand, it is pretty comfortable, although I do feel this little section right there a little bit not bad. This one has an aftermarket deep carry clip that I didn't realize was missing a screw until I flipped it over. So I might have to get that to one of the winners. I'll have to find one, or, whatever, buy one. But awesome knife. I do think it's a cool knife, These have not been out for too long. I think they came out last year. All right, let's get to the next one. The next one, we have the Liner Lock EMPEDC NYMBLE. Now, I didn't do a full review on this because I have a full review on the frame lock. And I know these Fast Fives get a little bit better views than the full reviews. So I wanted to show this off on a Fast Five. It's a great example. I think these guys are doing an incredible job. QSP is doing the OEM work, and you would think React did these. These are very, very well done. The liner lock versions are going to come in a couple different materials. This one is the micarta version, M390 spear point blade. I would call it a spear point. You can call it a drop point, whatever you want. I love the look of the blade with the swedge. The whole deployment works great. This is a very fidgety knife. You have a front flipping deployment, regular flipping deployment, and then you have the hole. Even the thumb flip works good. All the deployments work great. Access to the liner is good. Super, super smooth. It's a good looking knife, good functioning knife, and this is the small one. Now they have a medium size coming, and they already have a large version out. So talk about having just, there's so many different versions of it, and now there's even this liner lock version, and there's going to be different blade shapes. There's even a Warncliffe version coming, and a Tonto. That's amazing. So this is going to cover just about everybody's needs, wants, or preferences, which I appreciate. Nice big hardware all the way around, T8 hardware. Detent is so good on these, so good. I love the detent. The clip works fantastic in and out of the pocket. And, it's extremely well done. I think this really shows the potential of what QSP can do as an OEM. So let's get to the next one. Now, the next one is a bit of a budget knife, and we're going to quickly talk about it, but this is an ST109, SITIVIEN ST109. It is an axis lock. However, this is an axis lock that almost feels assisted. I don't know many knives that I felt with an axis lock that feels assisted but is not. And the reason why is because the way they have it set up for the detent, for the resistance, it's nice and strong. Once you break past that, this thing, it just carries the blade. But when you let it go, that's where it stops. Now watch all this resistance from there to close. So you have to overcome that. But once you overcome it, man, it shoots out. It hammers out, man. It's very satisfying because of that. And it is on bearings, so when you unlock it, it is completely fall shut action. But if you let go, it will stop, and you have to press past that what acts as the detent, which is just the blade pushing past this bar right here. See how it's pushing it down? It's trying to fit in that groove, and then once it gets in the groove, it closes up. So when you're pushing it out, it's pushing itself out of that groove until once it gets past it right there, then it basically just flies. And you see how it almost kicks right there? Let me do it again. I'm just not going to do it. So that little give, it really it encourages the blade to fly open really hard. D2 steel. Nice and comfortable in the hand, except for the clip is horrible in the hand. The clip is just too big for the knife. But, I mean, it works in a sense that the clip works good. You know, I don't really see, you know, you do have the big old screws and all that good stuff. But this is an extremely affordable knife. So you're not really complaining about the little details that you would on a more expensive knife with a knife that's this affordable. You're going to have a really strong lock, and it is. It's rock solid lockup. The steel, D2 steel, perfectly acceptable for this price. Would I like a better steel? Of course, but for this price, I can't complain. That's a great steel for this price. It does cut relatively good. The geometry is pretty decent for the blade. Beautiful blade shape. The plunge grind is a little bit late. I wish it was a little bit farther away, but I like I said, for the price, you just can't complain. This is a heck of a work knife. This is a knife you could bring out on the job and just beat the heck out of it, you know? And if something happened to it, you're not going to complain. And the fit, finish, and everything is really good on it. This one's black micarta. And yeah. Very, very well done. The access lock is easy to get to, super easy to disengage. The thumb studs are nice and grippy, easy to snap out. But yeah, solid knife, man. I'm definitely impressed with these. And next we have the TWOSUN TS213. Yes, 213. And it is in D2 steel. Now, it is a clip point blade and a jelly jerry design, and it definitely has an interesting look to it. It has premium materials aside from the D2, which is more of a budget steel these days, low mid-grade to budget steel. We have a titanium frame lock, carbon fiber on both sides, lots of heavy milling, steel lock bar insert, ceramic cage bearings in the pivot, and a titanium milled pocket clip that works good, and a titanium backspacer. Now, the blade to handle ratio is a little off on it, you know, as you can see, but the reverse flick works pretty good. We'll talk about that here in a second. We'll go to the front flipper first. The front flipper is great. The front flipping action is fantastic on this one. Very easy to use. I would prefer better jimping, but because of the leverage you have on this front flipper, it works just fine. It has internal stop pins, as you can see, which is another thing I do like. It makes the lockup, you know, a little bit more stronger, especially from side to side play, and it is rock solid. Now the hole deployment, it's good, but it's awkward. I don't know how to explain it. Just the positioning of the hole with the handle and the way you have to grip the handle, I wish it was like right here, you know, but it's up here. So I have to angle my hand like this and kind of get to it and then, you know, get it. Now the thumb flick, the position's not that bad, but it's just the edge around the hole is kind of knocked down, and it's not the sharpest and not the biggest. Even though I do have this groove, there's a flat spot here. The groove doesn't go all the way down to the hole. You have this flat spot here. So it kind of makes it to where you have to kind of squeeze your finger into it with your thumb. But it works, you know. It's just I would prefer if it had a little bit better access. Disengaging it, really nice, very comfortable. They didn't even put a cutout on any side, but it's still just fine. Easy to disengage. When you disengage it, the detent is right there. Even though it's late, it's very easy to get past because it doesn't have a regular flipper. So, and then, you know, the machining around the lock bar, you can see how the titanium is cut out around the lock bar. It's pretty cool, you know, all that intricate work. And there was definitely a lot of machining in this. It's pretty comfortable in the hand, surprisingly. You wouldn't, just looking at it, it's, you don't really think that's going to be comfortable, but it's actually not bad. I do feel this little pointy area, but it's not pokey to the sense that it's a hot spot. I just feel it, and I can easily avoid it. Cutting with it, it does cut pretty good. You can choke up right here, but it's not the best choke up spot just because of the position of your fingers, but you can do it. I wouldn't recommend doing it for like hard use, but you can if you really get your palm up over this, then you can. But back here, it's just a little awkward. So you want to kind of stay right there with your squeeze, then you have a lot of leverage. The blade to handle ratio, like I said, it is a little off. You can see the handle or the blade going into the handle. It is what it is. It's just the way the shape goes. If you want this type of shape with this type of blade, that's how it's got to be, and it is. Which I don't mind. I think this is different. It's not the typical look or typical anything, but that's kind of Jelly Jerry's style, and it's okay. It's not always my style. I do have a favorite TWOSUN which I have in my pocket right now actually, which is the 223 from Jelly Jerry. I love this design from Jelly Jerry, but he really likes the fantasy style looking knives. And it comes out in a lot of his designs, and I can't hate on it, man. It's not for everybody, but a lot of people do like that, so that's okay. And it makes it to where you can get a real fantasy style knife, because the knives, say in the malls and the gas stations that are like fantasy style knives, they're fake. They're trying to be what this knife actually is. And I mean that because this is real materials, real carbon fiber, real titanium, real ceramic caged bearings, and, D2 steel with a decent heat treat. It has the actual premium qualities that you would want in a fantasy knife if you're going to buy it, without breaking the bank to the extent of which you could with some other companies. And it is very well done. Even the inlay, the hardware, the machine work, it is done very well. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.